Okay, this is the video for the clavicle. This is going to be the left clavicle, and we'll do the insertion first. The insertion on the acromial end is the trapezius, and then as far as the origins, there's a sternohyoid here, and then we've got the pectoralis major, the deltoid origin, and then on the inferior side we have the subclavius origin on that subclavian groove. So that is all for the clavicle. All right, here we have our humerus, and this is going to be our right humerus based on the electron fossa there. We're going to start with the insertions. So up on the lesser tubercle, we've got the subscapularis, and then on the greater tubercle we have the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and then the teres minor there. And then here we've got the major sandwich. On the lateral aspect we've got the pectoralis major, and then the latissimus dorsi, and then the teres major there. On the deltoid tuberosity we've got the insertion for the deltoid, and then on the medial shafts we've got the insertion for the coracobrachialis. Now on the anterior shaft we have the brachialis origin. We're onto the origins now. So the brachialis is there, and then on the posterior aspect we've got the two heads of the triceps on the shaft. The medial head originates on the distal shaft, and the lateral head originates on the kind of more proximal than the medial head for sure. And then we've got on the two epicondyles on the lateral supracondyle ridge, we've got the brachioradialis origin there, and then the extensor carpi radialis longus distal to that. And then on the epicondyle itself we have the common extensor origin, and then the anconeus down there kind of at the bottom. On the medial side we have the pronator teres, and then distal to that we've got the common flexors. And I believe that is everything for the humerus. Okay, this is the video for the scapula. This is going to be a left scapula here. We're going to start with the insertions. So up here on the spine we've got the trapezius insertion, and then on the anterior side here, on the medial border we have the levator scapula insertion. Going to the lateral side we have the rhomboid major insertion, above that the rhomboid minor, and above that on the angle the levator scapula insertion. The last insertion is here on the coracoid process, and that is for the pectoralis minor. And then as far as the origins go, on the same side we've got the subscapularis. On the coracoid process we have the short head of the biceps and the coracobrachialis. On the spine we have the deltoid, and then on the posterior side here we have the above the spine the supraspinatus, below the spine the infraspinatus. On the lateral border here we've got the teres major, below that the teres minor, and then on the side here on the splenoid fossa the supraglenoid tubercle is going to be the origin for the long head of the biceps, and the infraglenoid tubercle is going to be the origin for the long head of the triceps. Okay, this is going to be the video for the radius. This radius, if you look at the styloid process and the radial tuberosity here, you'll see this is a left radius. So we're going to start with the insertions. On here, on the radial tuberosity is going to be the biceps brachii, and then on the posterior side we've got the supinator insertion, the pronator teres insertion, and back on the anterior side we have the pronator quadratus insertion, and then kind of on the styloid process we've got the brachioradialis insertion. As far as origins, on the anterior side we've got the flexor pollicis longus. On the posterior side we have the abductor pollicis longus, and then distal to that we've got the extensor pollicis brevis. And that's everything for the radius. Okay, this is going to be the video for the ulna. If you put the radial notch on the lateral side, you can see this is our left ulna. So start with the insertions. Up on top we have the insertion for the triceps. On the posterior aspect we've got the insertion for the anconeus. And then on the anterior side we've got the insertion for the brachialis. As far as origins go, we've got the flexor digitorum superficialis up there at the top. Beneath that, we've got the origin for the pronator teres. Kind of on the lateral aspect here, we have the origin for the supinator. And then on the shaft here, you've got the origin for the flexor digitorum profundus. Down at the bottom is the origin for the pronator quadratus. And then on the posterior side, there are three more. You've got the abductor pollicis longus here. You've got the extensor pollicis longus beneath that, and then the extensor indicis down at the distal end. And that is everything for the ulna.